Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. And if you want to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing chapter 6 of An Errant Dawn. The forest is still around us, but the clearing is enormous. We walk alongside pens containing creatures. I recognize some from my travels, my hunt, the larger ones mostly. Others are foreign. Each pen contains 20 or more of one kind of creature, and is large enough that they can run. What are they? I point to six-legged creatures in a pen. They have short necks, long legs, and thick bodies with coating of green-gray down. They run the periphery of the pens. Protects calls them fast runner. We call them horses because they resemble an animal of that name back on the homeworld. He points to another pen. We raise a variety of animals, each better suited to each hunting age. What do you feed them? Each pen has a trough creatures can the creatures can eat from. The creatures eat from. We only have vegetarian animals, so they'll eat anything plant-based. They're how we get rid of most of our farming leftovers. But we also grow plants specifically to feed them. The variety ensures they're healthy. The structure before us in the distance A structure is before us in the distance, tall and large, far from the pens. Before I'm done taking it in, Moores has turned and is heading to a set of 3 pens, which, unlike the others that are made of wood, are made of concrete, 2 meters tall, without openings in them. I stop when I notice the demon perched on the opposite side of the pen, looking in. They're half the size of Protect, and only look up when Moores speaks. It's okay, he calls to me. He keeps walking. That's Kills. He's here for the same reason I want you to watch. The walls have steep steps leading to a walkway that lets us look over the top. In the pen is motion, quick, darting. It's a chaos that takes me a few seconds to resolve into half a dozen small creatures of similar size and colors. One of them leaps, its body shifting in a way that throws it off course from its target, and I identify that one, a demon, the smallest one I've ever seen. That's Kill's cub. They're only a few months old. Kills watches us instead of their cub watches me. They are silent but alert, ready to act. The cub lands on a creature. There's a squealing, growling, the tearing of flesh, dark gray blood. Then the cub is running after another creature. There aren't even bones left of the one it just ate. A stronger demon scent reaches me on the shifting wind, and I turn. A new demon of a similar size to Kills approaches from the creature pens. That's Watches, Morse says, following my gaze. Kills mate. They're bringing more skitterers for the cub. As it gets better at catching them, they'll need to keep throwing in more, and then a larger type. In a few years, they'll get a few minutes rest between bouts of eating. When baby can go an hour between feeding, they'll transition to the maze. I stare at Moore's. Years? Watches. Opens their arm, the skin retracting, and a dozen of the skitterers drop into the pen. It's how long it takes, the man answers matter-of-factly. Watches settles next to Kills and joins them in watching me. One of them rumbles, a warning. Moores leads me away, and ones were what I think is far enough. I look over my shoulder. Kills and Watches are looking into the pen, leaning against one another. A memory flashes. Fangs in the light, pressed against claws in the dark. They are in a tree, looking down at a cub catching a slithering creature twice its size. The memory is filled with pride and happiness, then it's gone, leaving me wishing to recapture that feeling of belonging and wondering where the memory came from. Is it something I got from touching claws? Those are the times when I usually remember something of who Fang was. A flash of memory so sudden it didn't register then, and the situation here brought it back. Or are they coming on their own? Is the essence of Wu Fang's in the light that was used to create me growing as my black skin covers more of my body? Moors guides me to the larger structure. It's over 10 meters tall, a ladder leads to the top, and a walkway to an observatory platform in the center. The building is over 50 meters wide on each side, and it's a maze of corridors and rooms. This is the maze, Morse says. We can change the configuration and size by closing and opening the halls. The younger cubs can't handle the full maze, but Cub is of an age when he can. You named a cub Cub? It only now registers that each previous time Morse has referred to this cub, he meant it as a name. I look at the path with the creatures within the structure. It isn't a true maze, only a series of division extending the distance someone in it needs to travel to reach 2 points. Some walls have elevated platform, lending themselves to ambush from above. Some rooms have blinds built into them, others are empty. The crude representation demons could encounter during a hunt. The people don't take names until they can reason enough to choose one. And it's not really a name in the way we think of them. They don't need words to identify themselves. Each one knows the others using scent, the timbre of their rumble, and other things we can't register. I know you, Clausette said when I asked how he found me that first time. My scent, my being. Later, I saw an image of him tied to a post, and I knew it was him without any scent or being able to hear him. I didn't even look. He didn't even look anything like when I'd seen him before, but I simply knew it was him. What we use, Moore continues, even if they are the ones who decide what it will be, are more translations of the role they play in their community, of something they decided mark them as different. Protects the community, kills in one strike, watches the territory. The scientists who've looked into it theorizes that until they had to deal with us, the people didn't bother establishing who they were the way we do. The platform shakes, and I turn to face the arrival, stepping back until I'm at the edge of the platform. We know who we are, Predict says. Humans can't learn. They watch me, glowing red eyes flickering to the edge. I watch them think, their bodies tightening. They are looking to occupy less space or preparing to pounce on me. Different mode of communication lead to different ways of thinking. Moore's reply, still looking at the maze. So we need to adapt, compensate for what we don't get. The difference between community versus family from back in the town. Both mean the same thing to one, but not to the other. And neither can get the other to understand that. Morse hasn't reacted to Protect's arrival, an expression of his comfort, or did he know they were coming? I fight the urge to yell at the men to run, to escape, but doing so might draw the demon's attention to him, the attention utterly fixed on me at the moment. I am without weapons and facing a demon older than any I've encountered before. Years of training scream at me to attack, take the offensive. I know better, but the belief no demon can be trusted is ingrained deep in me. There! Moore's exclamation breaks the tension, and Protect is at the edge next to the man, head darting as they look the maze over, an eager and pleased rumble drifting off of them. I'm so surprised at by the change of behavior. I take a few seconds before moving to join Moore's on the other side. Before moving and joining Moore on his other side. I look and spot a creature running in the halls, making sounds of distress. It's a smaller version of the creature Morse called horses, its coloring more red than gray. I spot something else, quick motion from shadow to shadow to shadow trailing after the horse. Protect moves and focuses on them. They move up and down, a joyful rumble coming from them. And I realize they are bouncing in excitement, gripping the edge so tightly their claws are bending the metal. I notice many such damage around the platform. I try to pay attention to the hunt, but it only serves to remind me I haven't eaten in too long. The last ended in me unconscious, and Moore's meal did little to sate me. To distract myself, I studied the structure more carefully. The walls are a mixture of wood, metal, and concrete. There's a sense of the change in material being dictated by necessity that there's a sense of change in the material being dictated by necessity that the expansion came by force rather than planning. Came more by force than planning. This can't hold a demon, I state. There's too many purchases for them to grab hold and launch themselves in the air, if not just climb over the wall. If not just climb over the walls. Protect lets out an annoyed growl with an undercurrent of shut up if you aren't going to be enjoying this. But they speak. When the child thinks of the sky as a place they can be in, it's time for a true hunt. We have detectors spread over 300 hectares around this clearing and the town, so we can keep track of one of them if they get out without us noticing. Protect snorts. Amusement is carried under it, and I share it. Keeping track of a demon isn't the same as catching them. Once they can think in 3 dimensions, Morse continued, they are close to being able to reason. They can also go weeks without eating. I think back to the demons I hunted in the cities. I didn't know they could think back then, but too many used rooftop for it to be a result of reason. I watched Cub track the creature, use walls as jumping point to do rapid turn. I crouch and study them. Their target is landbound, so they don't have to consider height beyond what they can jump. In a city, the ground isn't that safe or simple. Cars are moving obstacle. People can defend themselves, even if not effectively. The police have guns, which will annoy a demon. Demons avoid needless fights. Those who survived learned that attracting attention brought in the army, which could kill them. So they stayed to the shadows, the alleys, stalked and pounced. Did the rooftops become the lowest safe place some of them adopted? Or, as I did for ease of travel, here Cub only has the prey to think about. The ground is safe, so they can focus on hunting, feeding. I swallow my hunger. The horse has made it to a large open space and rounds on Cub as they enter. It raises its front leg, and I see it has two sharp, blunt claws at the end of each. Club jumps back as it brings them down, then forward, clamping their jaw on a leg. The creature rears again, and Cub is sent flying. I tense as they land, roll, and are up again, running at it. The creature limps back, and I can see the leg's bone. Club catches up to it, jumps on its hindquarter. The horse bucks, but Club's claws are deep, and they stay on. When it tires, Club travels along its back, stopping and digging their claws as the creature shakes itself. It's violent enough, Claw's hind claws slip out, leaving gouges, but they bite for more purchase. In a few quick steps, Club reaches the neck, but instead of digging their claws in, they extend themselves to wrap around it, then viciously bite. You know what? I don't need the it. Then viciously bite. Blood flies as the creature attempts to dislodge Cub one last time, but it's too late. I smile at Cub's victory. Protects lets out a huff of annoyance, and they're looking at me. I glare in return, and they focus on Cub again. I can appreciate a good hunt as much as they can. The horse falls on its side and grows still. Cub flows out from under it and sets about devouring it. I have not watched many demons eat. When I came across one before, it was in a city and humans were who they were eating. I stopped them. I was present when Claus ate Adam, but my attention was on the military and other demons, moments away from attacking me again. It wasn't graceful. It's efficient and quick. Within 20 minutes, there are only bones left. What are you going to do when you run out of space for all the demons here? I asked. I don't see how this system can function over an extended period. Once the cub in the other pen is older, how are you going to handle having both of them in the maze? Moores watches me. I'm not sure you understand how they mature. It's going to be years until baby is old enough to be in the maze. By then, cub should be able to go maybe a day without feeding and have enough control to be able to wait if needed. They aren't like us. Demons live for a very long time and they mature much slower. Amanda and Jason never mentioned this. Did they know? Does the military know how demons live? Or are they simply interested in exterminating them all? Doesn't matter. Thank you for rescuing me. I say, standing. Demons are humans. I decided not to deal with them anymore. I'm leaving. No, Moore says. No, Protect echoes. But the threat in the undercurrent stops me. I'm more of a threat to him, to them, now that I know about the cubs. Don't threaten him, Moore chastises the demon, and I have to turn just to see how Protect reacts. He will tell others, the demon says, in a tone borderline on being hurt. No, I won't. That's a different paragraph. Moores watches me. Okay. Yeah. Moores watches me, concern evident on his face. I understand that you're afraid. What you have here goes against what humans know, what they believe. If I were still a hunter, the hunter I was created to be, I have no idea what I'd make of this, how I'd react to the two of you standing side by side. I'm not that anymore, but I don't want to be involved in this or anything. I don't want to be involved. I'm gonna turn that into semicolon. In this or anything else. I came to the wilderness to be alone. Being alone isn't healthy, Morse says. Being around people isn't good for anyone. I reply, a statement that conflicts with how I feel. But I bury that. It will pass. If I stay, something will happen. I'll get angry at the humans or the demons. The man studies me, then sighs. Fine, it's your decision. He raises a finger as Protect opens her mouth, and the demon glares at him, but closes it. I'm baffled again at how a human can dictate anything to a demon. Before you leave, Moore says, Malaya will want to examine you. Make sure you're okay. You clearly are, but she isn't going to let you leave without confirming it. He raises a hand to silence my protest. If you want to argue with someone, do it with her. I'm surprised that I obeyed him. Why? How did a gesture keep me from speaking? Protect looks at me with an expression that is oddly similar to a human smirk. And that concludes chapter 6 of An Errant Dawn. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, as well as the other two books in the trilogy, they are up on Kindle Unlimited. If you want a different way to support me, that is on my Patreon, where you can get access to basically everything else I've written. And if you are looking to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.